All right, guys, we're live again, and we are, well, not live, it's pre-recorded, but we are here again to finish the shading of our piece here. We're going to try to keep it at around 10 minutes, 10 to 15 minutes to make sure that we're not batting this thing to death. So I wanted to start out with our darkest darks, just like I did last time. Going along here, got you can definitely look at your reference photo for this because that is what I'm doing. So the wings on this guy are very dark going back into space. So that's what I'm going to start with. And yes, we are going to add in more details as we go. Just little things. I'm not going to add any color to this because I did not see any color. My picture is black and white. If there's any color on the one I uploaded and I missed it, feel free to put that in. Okay. I have this little white line up here at the top. See, these center lines are coming in very good handy when it comes to the shading. It's very precise on this ship. It's interesting because it makes it look very intimidating that it's so precise. This is not just your average enemy. This is an intelligent enemy with a purpose in mind, which sometimes can make it even more scary. So, okay, coming over here to this side, we're going to get the same thing. I'm actually going to turn it so I don't smear my shading that I just did on that side. Darkest darks. Fill those in. Wait, do I have a bottom here? Okay, no, I'm on the bottom. Okay. The bottom doesn't have that little white lip on it, so we're free game to just fill in the whole thing here. Well, this part isn't completely black, but it is quite dark, but okay. There, so we've got that. The other side, same thing. We've got this little lip down here at the bottom. And then in the back, we are going to do the same thing we just did. And shade that all in. Sorry if my desk is shaking. I am on carpet. Okay. All right. So we have some shading there. What I want to do next is the next darkest dark. So coming over here to the windows, we've almost got a little W shape here where it's coming down and then back up. So once I do that, I'm going to shade everything under that little area in these two top windows. The reason I like to do the blackest blacks first is because it gives me a guide to how dark to shade the other things, because I don't want everything to be this black. I only want the darkest things to be this black. It creates that contrast that we're going for. Because then I can sharpen my pencil and get to adding more details. But these guys are set in place. All right, so I have those two. There is dark along the edge there, along that line. Okay, the next one has just a little bump of a white thing here, a little shape that you can see in there. So we're taking this one window at a time. So just look at each window on your reference photo, sketch in whatever shape is in there, and then shade in the rest. A lot of the bottom half here. Go ahead and do the center one. A lot of the bottom half has just a bunch of squiggly engine stuff, which we'll squiggle in just a minute. Some kind of spike thing happening there. Shade around that. Okay. And that is coming down over here. A little bit lighter right here. And then there's this shadow on it from the spire. So I want to add that in there. Okay, darken that up just a little bit more. And then down here, just kind of squiggle in this stuff as you see fit. Got some shadows. Just pay attention to what parts are darker, what parts are lighter. But now there is some shadow on the spires themselves, so you can actually see them. There is also a nice dark shadow along the bottom edge of this circle. As I do this, I'm realizing my circle is a little wonky. Again, I'm okay with that. This is already starting to look really awesome. So you want to shade that gray squiggle all the way to the straight white line there. Then you can go back in and darken up those little shadow parts if you want to. I'm going to finish the inner circle. And it has some squiggles too. All right, so we've got our inner cockpit here. And if you guys didn't notice, I did this upside down. So I'm sorry. But I think I can fix that. So what I'm gonna do, isn't that a terrible mistake? That is a horrible mistake. I'm gonna go ahead and just draw the top up here. Because I can do that. Because I'm the one who drew it. So I'm gonna redraw the top up here. Just, I can't believe it. I forgot to flip it back over. I'm so sorry if you guys did the same thing. But you can fix the mistake and learn how to do that. Okay. So I've got my little top here. Okay. No harm, no foul, right? Another thing I need to fix is over here. This part is not shaded in, and this part is. Ta-da! It's like it never happened. I'm a professional, guys. I'm a professional. Okay, just gonna do a couple little squiggles of shade there. Again, I've got my little rectangle here. All right, so now let's come down to the bottom part here. And I'm actually going to bring that in just a little bit. Okay. So shading around the circle. Now I'm shading the inner ring here. It's a little darker over here. It's a lot darker on the under part. So now we're creating depth by shading the underneath parts. Here's these okay. So there's these lighter areas that stick out on the bottom here. So I'm going to pop those in. Then there's almost like this dot of a thing here. So this is not the darkest dark, so I'm not going to shade it in as much as I did some of the other darks. But I want to make sure it's nice and shadowed there. That shadow comes out around the side. Going around the circle, so want to make it look and have that spherical feel. So coming around. All right. Okay. Let's step back for just a second. Admire what we've done so far. I think it looks pretty good. It's good to step back sometimes and tell yourself it looks good. I think that's important. All right, let's move on. So I have a pretty dull pencil right now from doing all of these dark shading ins. So what I'm going to do here is just work on some more blocking in. So let's go ahead and work on the connecting wings here. So I'm going to make a line in the under part of this. Okay, do you see what I'm doing right now? This is called hatching. I'm making lines right next to each other. You can make them close together. They can be darker. This is called hatching, when you're making lines that go in the same direction. So that's what I'm doing right here on the inner side, not too heavy. I'm going to go all the way over here to there. Now something else I'm going to do is called cross hatching. So once you make hatches in one direction, cross hatching would be to go in another direction. You see how that darkens it? It can be in any direction. It can just be a diagonal. It can be perpendicular. And then there's a third cross hatch, a fourth cross hatch. So the more you do, the darker your value gets, but it allows you to build up that value over several layers so that you know when to stop when it's time to stop. So right on the inside of this lip here, I went diagonal with my first hatch. So now I'm going to go up and down, kind of on the outside of this part here. There's actually a shadow coming off of this wing right here. So it's going to be a much darker patch right here. Not as dark as the wing under it, but it is going to have that shadow. This piece right here is not going to be shaded in. It's just going to be these parts here. So hatch that till I feel like it's ready to go. I hatched in a curve around this ball here. And I think I'm going to darken the bottom side of this sphere to make it look even more round. So I'm going to darken that. There we go. Okay. I think there may even be some things sticking down here. Okay. So that's that side. The top part here is still quite light, but I do want to bring this in. This probably could have curved in a bit more to match the other side. Okay. Maybe shade that top half there to give it some depth. Now I'm going to come over here to this side. And this side's going to be very similar. So I'm going to draw my line. I'm going to define my little shape right here very lightly so I don't color over that. And then I'm going to hatch again. Just fill in that shape with the hatching. And then looking at my picture, I'm seeing there's not too much crossing action that needs to happen. Sometimes the easiest way to cross is just to turn your paper. So a lot of times you guys will see me turning my paper over and over again. And that's what I'm doing. It's just whatever is more natural for my hand, I turn it in that direction. So I'm going to smooth out this shading here. And it's going to come around the circle. This might actually be a little dark. It gets a little darker as it melds into that wing right there. I'm going to lighten this line up a little bit so it doesn't look so wonky. Okay, we'll come back over here and curve some things out of here. It's a really stark line, plus it's not really curved enough, so I'm going to redraw it and then I'm going to erase it again and just sketch in some shading in place of that line. Nice. Now it's definitely falling back behind that spherical shape. Pretty cool, huh? Okay, so now you can see the shapes are actually one shape going in here. But now it looks like a 3D shape because these pieces are falling back or going back at an angle, but it all looks like it's connected. And that's what we were going for. Okay, so this piece over here has this shadow. I can't even see it, so I'm gonna make that do another hatch on that bad boy there. Okay, this side has a shadow too. So this one, it's gonna come down a little bit past the wing. So we're at a different angle over here, so it's gonna be a little different. It's actually also a lot darker than the other side, so I'm not gonna fill it in as crazy as the wings, but I am going to make sure that that's nice and dark. The top part of this is also darkened. All right. And then there is another shadow coming like this, but this is a lighter shadow. That other wing. Ta-da! Okay. A lot of people are tempted to take their fingers here and just smooth everything out. You can most certainly do that, but many times you lose the values when you do that. It's very hard to control the oil in your hands and how it's going to land and where it's going to go. So I would just suggest at this point, leave it in this sketchy look. Sorry, I'm erasing this because I want to line it up a little bit better because it was a little out of line. So I'm making a line so I can try to line up this little tip here with the line that up again. There we go. A lot of times too, when you step back, you see a lot of things you didn't necessarily see the first time when you colored it. So it's always good to step back and look at it for a minute. You guys can see my fingerprints spread all over this. Okay. Let's look a little bit closer on this side. We have some very defined dark areas. So make this here so you can see. Gives it some depth. And then I'm just going to do a light shade all in this space here. And then down in here, it's nice and shaded too. That one's just really scruff. So there's some stuff happening in here. Over here, you've got machinery. Make some squares and some circles, make it look like some bars here. Okay. Now, this right here, we haven't done this yet. We'll go ahead and do it, but what we want to do is there's going to be a line coming down the center of the top. So I'm going to draw the line and then I'm going to show you. So coming down the center, it's going to have some dots on it here. So I'll hold that up for you. Like that. And then over here you've got another little edge of the wing. And then we're going to color this in black. You're almost done. I know I said 10 or 15 minutes. I'm a liar. I'm sure you guys are used to that. Sometimes I always think things are going to take a lot less time than they actually do. Oh well. Better for you. You get a more detailed tutorial. Okay. So that colors in that shape there. Okay. Now coming down, well, actually, let's do this side over here. We're going to do the same thing. We're going to make that line coming down. With dots. And then flip the side. To turn my paper to do this. My pencil's dull too, which does not make it an easy process. Okay, I'm going to color this in. Nice and dark. All the way to the next box. Okay. Coming along, coming right along. So this right here, I'm going to shade it this direction and a little bit rough, just to give it something a little bit different. I'm gonna squiggle in a few darker lines here. Looks like there's something happening. Not as much on the other as on the other side, but there's still something happening here. All right, so now that we've got those, we're about to finish the final part, which is the bottom wings here. For this one, I definitely need to sharpen my pencil. Before I do that, though, I want to give this side just a light scruffy shade. Okay, this side I'm going to keep lighter. I'm going to sharpen my pencil, make sure it's nice and sharp if you need to do that. It'll be easier to draw your lines. So starting over here, going along this line, we make a line here. And we can even make the line here at the bottom. Now these lines are parallel, okay, with the lines that they're next to. Parallel means going the same direction. And then I'm going to draw a line. You can use a ruler if you want to, but I'm going to draw a line from the one corner down to the other corner, just like that. Like that. On the inside here, very carefully drawing in that dark vent. Okay, there's the vent. Now we're going to do the same thing on the other side over here. Draw my parallel line here. Line here. Darken my line down here. Okay. Connect those two. Okay. Slice this. Okay, I'm going to turn it up this way so I don't smear this dark all over the place. Coming down with the vents. Now again, I'm doing this very quickly. This is the second time I've done one of these, so. Okay. So there's our two vents. I think I want to shade this one just a little bit more. So it is just a tad more shaded than the other side, but I'm going along the outline to make sure everything is clean and straight and awesome. Because after we do that, we're finished. So coming up, just darkening some lines here. Don't have to be super dark, but you've got a space in the background. So you guys are welcome to draw space again on this one, just like we did on Luke's X-Wing. I'm again not going to do that for this demo. I said that for the last one too, didn't I? But I'm really not going to because this one has gone pretty long. Okay, so there we go. Darth Vader's High Advanced. I hope you guys enjoyed this video, and I hope you've enjoyed the first week of our class. I look forward to seeing all your drawings. Thanks. Bye.